Were you ever concerned that your regulatory body might have problems with what you were doing?
I mean, not clinically, not at that time. I was certainly fearful when I went to publish Real Food for Gestational Diabetes.
Yeah.
Because it was so, I mean, nobody bucks the system with prenatal nutrition. Nobody. And nobody tries to do different with gestational diabetes.
No, they don't.
So I was kind of like, I was treading on, sacred ground, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I was nervous that I would get a lot of pushback. And that's why, I mean, both of my books, probably even more so Real Food for Pregnancy, are just really heavily cited. So that when people are like, well, where did you just come up with this? You just pull this stuff out of thin air, I could refer them to the scientific sources. And, a lot of times it's like, we don't have perfect answers on everything. We don't have perfect research on everything, but that doesn't just apply to people who are, suggesting something different. That also applies to the guidelines. A lot of the guidelines are not based on strong evidence at all.
Pretty much some of them are So I mean, this, let's take the example of the minimum carbohydrate requirement for pregnancy. I mean, I think I remember reading that in your book, but just run me through, like, did anybody ever manage to find the evidence or the so-called evidence for that?
I did, actually. It's in the Institute of Medicine has it's like a 1,300 page document on nutrient requirements. I think that one's specific to macronutrients. And there's a section on carbohydrates and a section on pregnancy. And they walk you through how they came up with that number. It's a little convoluted, but you can put it together when you read that. And essentially they start with an estimated average requirement of carbohydrates for a non-pregnant person, which is assumed to be 100 grams. And then they add on additional carbohydrate to account for the glucose requirements of the fetal brain. So how much glucose is the fetal brain pulling from mother on a daily basis? They don't consider that could be coming from endogenous sources in the mom, right? That's from outside. And even that estimate, you read research and it varies. So they chose one random number to go with on that. And then they add in additional carbohydrate to account for the increased energy demand of pregnancy. So if we assume there's going to be an extra 300 to 500 calories per day required, and you're going to be getting approximately 45 to 65% of those calories from carbohydrates, they calculate that out and add it in. And there's some rough numbers around there, but they seem to round up to 175 grams.